sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us how to leave suffering, attain bliss and birth and death, and quickly realize no birth. Cùng đến đại đức tận tình, vì thứ pháp hội cập nhật thiết chúng sanh, thuyết chuyên diệu pháp luân giáo đạo Nam mô. Như Á Liêu sanh thoát tư lý vô đà bà, tốt chứng vô sanh. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfect enlightened one.
Nam mô Sa Nan Tô Sư Chế Đô Ye Ơ La Hơ Đi Sa Niệm San Phu Tô Xie.
Nam mô Sa Nan Tô Sư Chế Đô Ye Ơ La Hơ Đi Sa Niệm San Phu Tô Xie.
Nam mô Tạc Đa Tha Tô Ya Đa Ya A La Ha Đê Tam Niệm Tam Bồ Đà Toa.
Nam mô Tát Đa Tha Tô Ya Đa Ya A La Ha Đê Tam Niệm Tam Bồ Đà Toa.
The unsurpassed, profound, subtle and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I've come to receive and hold it within my sight and hearing, I vow to fathom the thus come one's true natural meaning. Wu Shang Shen Shen Wei Liao Fa Bai Jie Wan Jie Nan Zao Yu Wo Jin Jian Wen De Shou Ju Yin Jie Ru Lai Shen Shu Yi. O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Venerable Shenhuan, Venerable Shamini, Venerable Good Knowing Advisors, Amitabha Phật. Chư Phổ Bồ Sát, Sư Phụ Sang Gần,各位沙弥，各位善知识，阿弥陀佛。Chư Phật Bồ Tát, kính thưa Hòa Thượng Minh Hóa, kính thưa sư cô, kính thưa quý vị thiện tri thức A Di Đà Phật. Welcome to our Amitabha Sutra lecture on the 22nd of January in 2012 in Rosemead, California. We are lecturing on the section where it's called certification, meaning that the Buddhas of the 10 directions certify the validity and the inconceivable nature of this particular sutra. Giảng về cái phần về cái chư Phật đang chứng nhận cái kinh này là một cái kinh bất khả tư nghị. We're talking about the Buddhas as house and direction, nói về những chư Phật của phương Nam. Sumru Buddha, Tu Di Đăng, Phật Tu Di Đăng. His name after the four wisdoms, because the sound Sumru is made of the four jewels, each has its own light and illuminate like a lamp. Tu Di Đăng, cái tên là cái đèn là nó được dựa trên bốn cái loại trí huệ. Núi Tu Di là được thành lập bởi bốn cái tứ bảo, và mỗi cái bảo nó có một cái ánh sáng riêng của nó và có thể chiếu sáng như là cái đèn. And his particular Buddha here, his body light is like the light of a lamp that can vanish the darkness. Cái thân ánh sáng của thân của Phật giống như cái đèn vậy. Cái ánh sáng của cái đèn và có thể chiếu phá tan cái bóng tối của ban đêm. This light The lamplight symbolized the fact that the Buddha transformed the eight consciousness into the four wisdoms. Thành ra cái này nó tượng trưng cho Đức Phật đã chuyển hóa 8 cái thức thành 4 cái trí huệ. In particular, the Buddha, this is what differentiates the Buddhas from the rest of us. Cái này là sự khác biệt giữa Đức Phật với chúng ta. He turns all the consciousnesses we have into wisdom. Những cái trí mà chúng ta có, trí thức chúng ta có, những cái thức chúng ta có, nó biến chuyển thành trí huệ. You know what I'm talking about? 是，它佛是转世成智。So the sixth consciousness is turned into the wonderful observing wisdom. Cái lục thức đó, nó chuyển thành nhiều quan sát trí. Okay. The seventh consciousness into the equal nature wisdom. Cái thức thứ 7 nó chuyển thành bình đẳng tính thức trí. The first 5 consciousnesses into accomplishing what is to be done wisdom. Năm cái thức đầu tiên nó biến thành cái thành sở tác sức thức trí. And finally the 8th consciousness into the great perfect mirror wisdom. Và cái thức thứ 8 nó chuyển thành đại viên kính trí. Okay, in the other lectures we talked briefly, gave some details about how these 8 consciousnesses are turned into the 4 wisdoms. Probably in a prior section of this sutra even. So, does anyone have any questions about these 4 wisdoms or 8 consciousnesses? Lúc trước thì mình có giảng một phần nào đó, nhiều cái bài giảng mình đã giảng về cái thức cái chuyển thành trí rồi. Có ai có thắc mắc về những cái thức cái trí không? Anyone has any questions about consciousnesses or wisdoms? Okay. In essence, Roberta, consciousnesses are what we perceive. We use to perceive the external environment. Okay, that's called consciousness. The consciousness is basically what happens. We have our sense of organs. Nhất là mình có những cái giác quan. Okay, our eyes, our nose, our ears. Those are our sense organs. Okay, our mind. Okay, and these sense organs perceive their corresponding object. Okay? Một cái cơ quan giác quan mình. Oh, I don't need to translate to Vietnamese at all today. Oh, cool. Why am I talking Vietnamese? No Vietnamese listener, right? There's no one Vietnamese.
That's amazing.
On Skype?
No.
No. See? So, oh, hallelujah. We need to do Vietnamese. We save ourselves some time.
That's amazing.
Yeah, today is the final day of the year, so if people are busy and staying home preparing for tomorrow, the cooking and stuff, especially women, they need to do the household work, a lot of cooking for tomorrow, that's for sure. Actually, the Chinese, for tonight is like New Year's Eve, so you need to have like a lot of food, right? A lot of special food that you eat. Yes. So for the Chinese, tonight is a night where the family get together and they eat very well, eat food. Like only this time of the year, that's when they eat it. Am I correct? Huh? Yeah. So anyway, that's what the Chinese do. Vietnamese, I don't know what they do. They probably go out to a temple or go climb a tree or something and get some blessings. Anyway, so you have the sense of organs. Then you're faced with the eyes sees form, the ears catches sound. So each organ has its corresponding object. Okay? They call dust, the 6 dust. The 6 organs correspond to intercept or perceive the 6 dust. Okay? So far so good. So you have the sense organs here, and then you have the 6 dust here. The eyes sees form, the ears hear the sound, the tongue tastes the flavor. Okay? The nose smells fragrances. the body touches things, the mind thinks of things. Okay? So all the mind thinks of ideas, okay? Concepts. So these sense organs here perceive the six dusts, and between the objects and the sense organs is called consciousness. That's what we use. 8 consciousnesses. Okay. And you, okay. All right. So far, so good. Okay. So this is how we interact with the external world through our consciousnesses. Now, the consciousnesses, they cause confusion. It took the. Okay, I don't need to explain Vietnamese. That's my habit again. So the consciousnesses, when you rely on consciousnesses like we do, okay, the consciousnesses are inaccurate. They cause problems. For example, what kind of problems? They're limited, first of all. Okay? For example, our eyes. We cannot see behind our eyes. Okay? So the consciousness, the eye consciousness is limited by space. Okay? So therefore, if you depend on the eye consciousness to perceive things, you cannot see things that you're supposed to see. Okay? Same thing. So all the consciousnesses, the consciousnesses have limitations, have inaccuracies. Okay? Have measurement problems, and therefore, if we depend on our consciousnesses to interact with the environment, with the external world, then we are limited by our perceptions. Okay. Whereas, if you have used cultivation to turn 8 consciousnesses into the 4 wisdoms, then your perception is no longer limited. It's unlimited. Okay? This is what differentiates the sages and the Buddhas from us, in that they turn the consciousnesses into the wisdoms, okay, which are no longer limited. Alright? Any questions about that? Okay. In particular, I want to emphasize here on this slide 468 that the 6th and 7th consciousness are first transformed through causes. Meaning that we need to plant the cause. When we are cultivating, we are planting causes to transform the 6th and 7th consciousnesses into wisdoms. It has happened first. There's an order of transformation for it to work. Yes. We need to first transform the conscious mind and the ego into wisdom. Okay. No, that is an ongoing process. Even after you have some transcendental wisdom, you still need to continue to cultivate. And as you continue, or as you get deeper into your cultivation, that's when you start transforming the consciousnesses into wisdoms. For example, let me put it this way for you. For example, the sages, let's say the 4th stage, aha. Let's say an aha is a sage in our world, okay? Even though they're sages, there are many degrees, okay? Because, for example, you may become a 4th stage aha, but you have not transformed your consciousnesses into wisdoms yet. So ahas can vary degrees of wisdom. Okay? The more of these consciousnesses they transform into wisdom, the wiser they are. In essence. Okay? So when after they reach 4th stage ahatship, then they work on transforming their consciousnesses into wisdoms. And so they need to go through an order process, they need to transform the 6th and 7th consciousnesses first. Okay? So that's why in cultivation, as we guide you in the cultivation, we help you plant the causes for you to eventually transform the sixth and seventh consciousnesses into wisdoms. Okay? And then the rest of the consciousnesses, the first five and the eighth consciousnesses, then transform as a result of your retribution. Okay? That's a distinction you need to make when you cultivate. Okay? And this Buddha's light, wisdom light, the light from his four wisdoms, can destroy all the three delusions. What are the three delusions? Okay, the three delusions here refers to the view delusion, the delusion as many as the dust motes, and finally the delusions of ignorance. So this particular Buddha's light, if you encounter his light can help us eradicate these three types of delusions. Okay? Meaning the view and thought delusions. Okay?
Now, what are they? Destroy the three illusions, and what are the three illusions?
The three delusions, the first one is the view and the thought delusion.
View and the thought.
And the thought. Thinking. Yeah. View meaning that
what you see?
Yeah, based on your perceptions.
Okay.
The view delusions have basically five view delusions and five thought delusions. Okay, there are five kinds of view delusion. For example, what are the view delusion? For example, you have a view of a body. That's called a view delusion. You think there's a body. You don't realize this body here is simply the result of causes. It's not. It doesn't exist by itself. Without the causes and conditions, the body doesn't exist. And yet, we attach to our body. We pamper it, we nurture it, we take care of it, and we take it to be real. That's called a view delusion. It's called a body delusion. That's a form of view delusion. So far, so good?
Form of view delusion?
Yes, view of a body.
Okay.
You see there's a body, and that's a form of delusion. So in the morning, those of you who look at yourself in the mirror in the morning and say, oh, how nice I look in the morning, that you're reaffirming your view delusion, view of a body.
No, you look at how bad you look in the morning.
Yes, you look at yourself in the mirror. Yes, that's a view delusion. Okay? Okay. There's another delusion called, a view delusion, called the Shen, Bian, Jie, the extreme delusions, meaning that view delusion, meaning that you believe that in impermanence, meaning that you say you're human right now, say in the future you always become human, every single lifetime. It's called permanence. Nothing changes. So in essence, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter once you have a human body, no matter what you do, you always got to become a human in the future. That's what they believe, which is wrong. Okay? Because humans can become dogs. Dogs can become humans. So it is no such a thing as permanent. Nothing is permanent in this world. Nothing.
If you don't become human and become dog, doesn't that a retribution?
Yes. That's what cause and effect.
Okay.
So, and another extreme view is that it doesn't matter. After you die, you return to dust. So they call it, the view is called nihilism, meaning that it doesn't matter. No matter what you do, after you die, everything disappears. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you do good or you do evil. It doesn't matter at all. After we die, nothing matters. We go back to dust.
So they don't believe in karma.
They don't believe in cause and effect. Okay. So those are two extremes. It's called the extreme views. And that's a form of view delusion. These people are deluded. By the way, a lot of the externalists believe in these view delusion, the extreme view delusion. When the Buddha was in the world, he encountered a lot of externalists who believe in impermanence or believe in nihilism. They didn't realize They didn't realize there's such a thing as cause and effect, causes and conditions. Okay, so that's a nature of the extreme views. Yes?
And in Catholicism, they say from dust you come and dust you return.
Right. And that they're wrong, clearly. No such a thing as from dust you come and dust you return. We came here because of conditions, we leave here because of conditions. The conditions coalesce, and therefore we're here. We have this body. When the conditions cease to exist, that's that this body disintegrates. That's so as simple as that. Okay? So the Catholics are wrong in teaching the people. All right. And there is also a form of view delusion that believes, for example, that there is they believe what is not a cause to be a cause. For example, there are some externalists who have opened their heavenly eye and they observe a dog dying and the dog ascending to the heavens. And so they say, and that means that you should observe the rules of morality of dogs, imitate the behavior of dogs, because after you die, then you can be born to the heavens. So to take what is not to be a cause, to wrongly assume to be a cause, meaning the behavior of a dog will cause you to be born to the heavens. They actually see that. They actually see this is a known fact. The externalists open the heavenly eye. They see a dog dying. They see the dog's soul rise to the heavens, become a heavenly being. So they said, I should behave like a dog, so that I can be born to the heavens. Yes.
Is that limited view with their heavenly eye? They only see a little bit. They haven't seen everything.
That's right. They only see something. This is the danger of small knowledge, of limited knowledge. It is true that they can see the dog being born to heavens. That's a fact. The dog being born to heavens is a fact. However, they don't realize. They only see the small part of the picture, and they feel that they know it all, and that's the fallacy of literal knowledge, or incomplete knowledge. Okay, so this is a form of view delusion. What is not to be a cause, meaning behaving like a dog, and they take it to be the cause to be born to the heavens. Okay, so these externalists then they behave like dogs. They gnaw on bones, they dig holes and hide bones, and they like to behave like a dog, hoping to be born to the heavens. Okay? And that's a form of view delusion. You're laughing, but you don't realize that a lot of people in the Buddha's time believe in this because they have a following, many followers, okay, who actually behave like this. There are a lot of them. There used to be a lot of them during Buddha's time. So the Buddha explained this is a form of view delusion. Okay? Alright. There's also a form of delusion called the taking what is not to be a cause, to be a fruition. Meaning, this is the famous case of the unlearned bhikshu. He used to be a monk who reached fourth dhyana, and he thought that he reached fourth stage arhatship. So by the time he died, he saw his soul leaving his body and going for reincarnation. So he said, the Buddha must have lied to me because I'm a fourth stage arhat already. And the Buddha lied to me. He says, once you reach fourth stage hardship, you're no longer subject to birth and death. You no longer change body. I see myself changing body. Therefore, he slandered the Buddha. He said the Buddha liked him. And so this is a form of view delusion. Yes?
Is it view delusion or is it arrogance and ego? He thought he was so great.
It's a combination of that. Also, the basis of that is arrogance and ego, of course, because he is deluded into thinking that he reached fourth stage arahantship, but he hasn't yet. Okay, but also view delusion because he actually perceived himself, okay, as being born, go through the process of birth and death again, and that's a form of view delusion. He thinks that he's above birth and death, but he's not. And this is common to cultivators, by the way. They feel they accomplished something special, and therefore they don't they have these delusions of them being so special. Okay? So far so good? That's 4. Okay? And finally, there's the 5th view delusion, which is what? I forgot. Shen, Bian, Jie, Ju, Xie. Finally, the 5th one is deviant views. Okay? This is the worst one. Of all the view delusions, the deviant views are the worst. Because the deviant view says that these people do not believe in cause and effect whatsoever. He simply said, there's no such a thing as cause and effect. And therefore, it's deviancy. Deviancy means that they don't believe in cause and effect. It's a very serious offense. Okay? So, those are the 5 kinds of view delusions that people have during the Buddhist time. And these are very, very difficult problems to overcome. Let me tell you, any of those 5 view delusions, if you have them, are very difficult to overcome. For example, a view of the body is extremely difficult to overcome. We attach our body, period. Okay, and it's a form of delusion. Yes?
I thought I remembered you once describing the view delusions as being like the liking or disliking that we have in response to perceptions or sensory perceptions.
No, that's feelings. That's not view delusions. That's different. Those are feelings. Okay? View delusions are these prejudices that we have that's so ingrained in our psyche that's very difficult to undo. Very, very difficult. And that's the nature of ignorance. We believe there's a body, for example. For most ordinary people, the view of a body is very, very difficult to undo. Think about it. Okay? There's industries in our world that cater to the body. The massage and the gym, the fitness, all these things, or the catering business. They cater to the body. All right. Any other questions? Okay, that's one kind of delusion, is view and thought. What are thought delusions? Thought delusions are 5 kinds. Okay? Does anyone know what are thought delusions? Anyone knows? 入境，你知道吗？是或是什么？有5种。是或。见是惑、成煞惑、无明惑。是惑是什么？是什么样？ Okay, it's very easy. The thought delusions are 5 kinds. Greed, hatred, and stupidity are the first 3 kinds. Okay. Greed, hatred, and stupidity as a form of thought delusions. So far, so good? Then there is something called arrogance. stupid. Yeah, okay. Arrogance. Okay. And number 5 is doubt.
What?
Doubt.
Doubt?
Yes. You're skeptical. You don't believe. You don't believe people.
Yeah, they're not right.
Particular. It's not right. And of course,
It doesn't make sense.
doesn't make sense. It's illogical. It's non-factual. It's all hearsay. Okay. It's a lot of bunk. The Buddha. Who is the Buddha? What does he know?
Exactly.
Why should I trust him? Okay. I should trust, what's this guy, the scientist, that's Stephen Dawling or something like that? Huh?
Hawking.
Hawking? Yeah, the famous guy. Now what is his, Stephen Hawking, the famous British scientist, physicist.
He just
who is-
turned 70.
Huh?
Just turned 70. He shouldn't have lived that long.
Yeah, he's confined to a wheelchair. And what's his latest declaration? He says the biggest mystery to him is, John, you never guess.
What do women want?
He knows. John follows the news. I find fascinating. The most brilliant physicist of the world says women are just an enigma.
That was Freud said it years ago. All the research.
Yeah, he's copying. He's imitating the great thinkers. There's nothing original about that.
But he's right. We don't know what women want.
Yeah. Nor do we know about ourselves. The biggest mystery is ourselves, not the women. He's so wrong. He's so far off course. Okay. We are the biggest mystery. Our mind is the biggest mystery.
Always.
And humanity will never be able to figure it out. Never.
Because we're so selfish.
Because we depend on our mind to figure out our mind. Therefore, we'll never be able to figure out our mind. As simple as that. You cannot rely on something that is enigma to figure an enigma. That's nonsense. And the funny thing is that the scientists, the brilliant researchers, are doing it right now. They don't even realize it's impossible to figure out. But anyway, so the arrogance and doubt are the last two of the thought delusions. Okay? Any questions about the view and thought delusion? That's the first kind of delusion that we need to undo. If you undo the thought and view delusions, what happens? You become an aha. Yes. You cannot become an aha. If you undo the view delusions, then you reach first stage aha. Okay? If you get rid of all your view delusions of the desire realm, then you reach first stage aha. Is it clear? That's how you become a sage. A sage is someone who has fewer delusions than we do. Okay? And in Buddhism, the Buddha is very precise. He said you cannot become reach sagehood, have real wisdom unless you undo your delusions. And there are three kinds of delusions: views and thought. Delusions are the first kind, and these pertains to the wisdoms of the arhats. Okay? The arhats are no longer confused about the view and the thought delusions. Yes? Alright? The next kind of delusion is called the delusions as many as the dust motes. What does it mean? It means that after you reach fourth stage arhatship, Then you continue to cultivate, and you continue to deal with the kind of delusion which are much more subtle than the thought and view delusions. Thought and view delusions are considered to be coarse. The delusions as dust motes, as many as dust motes, are considered much more refined, much more difficult to deal with. And that's why it's only after you reach a fourth stage arhatship, that's when you work on these delusions as many as a dust mote, because there are that many. Remember, the view and thought delusions are only 10 of them altogether, or 200, less than 200. If you analyze them to great detail, like a Tiantai people, Tiantai school, they will analyze the 88 grades of view delusions and 81 grades of thought delusions. So in total, 169 delusions, thought and view delusions. Okay. You can do it that way. The very detailed, the Tiantai schools describe these delusions, thought and view delusion in very detailed fashion. You work on one at a time until you eradicate them, then you can reach stagehood. Okay? However, after you reach your fourth stage arhatship, and you start working on the delusions as many as dust motes, they're uncountable. There's no way to count them. So you need a different methodology. Okay? 成煞破. Okay? It has, as the delusion you face with are as many as the dust you can see suspended in the sun rays. The sun rays shines a light, you see only that gray of dust being suspended. Okay? Imagine the rest what you cannot see. That's what these dust motes delusions are type. Their nature. There's so many of them. Okay? Are you discouraged?
Yes.
No,
There's a lot of delusions to work with.
but you said the magic key, you have to use a different approach.
Ah, that's right. Very good. Very good.
Because you cannot brute force knock them off. It's like mathematical. Change something and now you solve it.
Absolutely. Very good. Very good. It turns out the same thing. You do not, if you want to deal with the view and thought delusions, let's say, you don't want to go through 169 categories of view and thought delusions. That's way too many. Okay? It's not Chan-like. In the Chan perspective, we simplify. We show you different pathways to get there without, counting them or without classifying with such great details. The classification to details is for academic purposes, for analysis purposes, but it's not practical for practice. 169 is way too many things to keep track of. Let's face it, right? I mean, I don't believe you have more than you can keep track of more than 10 items yourself, right? So it's not practical. To anyone, yes, there is ways to go about doing it, and the Buddha has many. Buddhism has many tracks to help you get there. Okay, but let me tell you, it's not easy. It's very hard. It takes commitment. My whole point here is that it's doable, but it takes a lot of commitment. Okay, and finally, you get to the delusions of ignorance. And when you get the delusion of ignorance, there are 10 grades of ignorance that you need to break through. Okay, to become a Buddha. If you break through these 10 parts of ignorance, you will become a Buddha. Any questions? So, Buddhism is very, very precise, very accurate. The Buddha says, wisdom Because we are talking about Sumeru lamp Buddha. Sumeru lamp Buddha is a Buddha that represents wisdom. He uses light, his wisdom light, to destroy the ignorance, the darkness. And the Buddhas are very, very smart. They teach us ways to do it and how to go about destroying these types of delusions systematically. And that's the beauty of Buddhism, by the way. The beauty of the Buddha's wisdom is that he knows, he tells us step by step how to go about doing it. Okay? And he describes, you see, because it's like he gives us a roadmap of how to go about doing it. Whereas other people don't even realize there's something called thought and view delusions. There's something called delusions as many as a dust motes. Or there's something called the delusions of ignorance. Okay? Let me give you a hint of what the delusion ignorance is. The delusion of ignorance are the worst kind of delusions. They're the most difficult to deal with. They're extremely difficult to deal with. Okay? You know why. And this is something that John will never be able to guess.
Just because I don't know what women want doesn't mean I can't guess it.
Yeah, it's the same principle, by the way. It's the same line of thought, by the way. This ignorance. It's extremely, extremely difficult to deal with. Because the nature of ignorance is so subtle that we don't even know it's ignorance. You see, it's difficult to deal with because you don't even know that it is called ignorance. You never figure out, you never dare guess it's called ignorance.
Is it because we're so certain of ourselves?
Ah, close. Okay. The delusion of ignorance is primarily the delusion from our knowledge. Think about it.
Right.
Think about it.
I can't possibly be wrong.
That's right. How can you possibly believe that your knowledge is a form of delusion?
Because we can't think outside the box.
We are confined
in the box.
in the box by our knowledge.
And that is our knowledge and our ignorance.
And our what?
And our ignorance. Our knowledge is our ignorance.
The knowledge actually, your knowledge actually, is actually ignorance. It's the most frightening thing. You know, it's the most difficult thing to deal with. Because we are so enamored with our knowledge.
We're so happy, we're so prideful.
We are proud of our knowledge. We seek knowledge.
I am a doctor. I know what I'm talking about.
That's right. We seek insights. We seek knowledge. We pride ourselves in our knowledge. You know? Okay? And that is a form of ignorance. So the Buddha is fascinating because the Buddha says, right now I'm talking to you from a theoretical perspective because you're not there yet. But when you get there, the Buddha is very detailed. He says, there's certain types of knowledge that bind you. Not all knowledge is bad. You see, that's the nature. Okay, let me spell it out for you. Not everything you know is bad. Okay? For example, if you say that the law of cause and effect is bad, it's not bad. It's good knowledge. Okay? There's such a thing. Okay? But among our knowledge, there's certain types of knowledge which are extremely, extremely vicious, very detrimental for us. And we don't even know it. So the Buddha says, there is these types of things that bind you and you have no clue at all. So So that's what's fascinating about the Buddha's wisdom. He knows precisely what's keeping us. For example, let me tell you, I see that monk you mentioned, Thomas, that you admire so much. I see that monk being stuck at his knowledge, but I cannot tell him. I don't care. Doesn't matter. You name any monk, I tell you. Okay? I see him being stuck where he's at right now because he's stuck on his thinking that he knows about that. And I see that as delusion, but I cannot tell him. That's how dangerous it is.
Like talking.
Because he says, I am a superior monk. I am better than any of them. I look at him and say, yes, you are. But that doesn't make you a Buddha. See what I mean? The objective is to become a Buddha. It's not to be better than anyone else. We cultivate to become a Buddha. It doesn't matter if I'm better than you. It's irrelevant. As long as I'm going towards Buddhahood, then it makes sense to me. Does it make sense to you? And this is a problem with knowledge. They think they know. They think they're better than someone else. Okay? They think they know. They see, look at you, oh, she's confused. You're confused. He's confused.
I'm clear.
Okay? So he says, I'm above that. But then he doesn't realize that he's stuck with his knowledge. And that's the danger of wisdom. That's why it's so dangerous. These people are very wise. They're extremely wise. And they don't, because they're so wise. I see so many of these people. I see they're so wise that they don't realize they're stuck by the wisdom. The wisdom are keeping them stuck. That's how dangerous it is. Yes?
Isn't there attachment to their knowledge that keeps them from having the breakthrough?
They're so sure that they are right.
Nothing else can possibly exist, or the answer outside.
Because their teachers haven't taught them yet how to undo it.
How to what?
How to undo that problem.
Undo it, okay.
You see? As a teacher, I emphasize preparing my students to undo where they're going to be stuck. Okay? Because if you're not careful, you'll be stuck for many, many lifetimes. You will not make it. It's very, very difficult. I'll give you an example of being stuck. And we're talking about very high level Sangha. Okay? You heard Master Xu Yun. Okay? Xu Yun, La He-shan, the teacher of my teacher. He's an 8th ground Bodhisattva. Okay. And the 8th ground Bodhisattva has a problem. He's stuck with that very spot, and they don't even realize it. And it is so bad that they don't know. And it's so bad that the Buddhas themselves are so worried they have to come and tell Venerable Xu Yun that you should get going because you should not stay. Because they would not listen to anyone else. See that? Only Buddhas have the power to help them get out. Because they don't listen to anyone else. The Buddhas are so worried. They have to show up and say, son, you have to get going. Don't stay here. That's the nature of the ignorance. It's a very scary proposition. Think about it. You're stuck there forever. These stages get stuck there forever. Okay? So that's why the ignorance is an extremely dangerous animal to deal with. The thought, the delusions are easy because when you present with the facts, you will most likely change, move yourself away from it. The delusions, as many as the dust motes, are easy because you realize they're bad for you. They're delusions. The problem with ignorance is that you don't even realize it's ignorance. It's most difficult to deal with. Okay? Alright. Any questions? Does anyone have any questions? 入境有问题吗？
像这个无名这个词很难用那个实际的那个例子来比喻。
对，很难的。But don't worry, you're still very far from it. Don't worry. Will be 惯心. Yes.
I was wondering what does it mean to be transformed as a result of retribution for the fifth and eighth?
Meaning that it's the result of some causes you planted in the past, and now you get the fruits, the fruitions of all these causes. So these are the fruition. Okay. So you first need to plant the causes. Eventually, the fruition will manifest as the other two wisdoms. Okay. It's just a small discernment for references for cultivators. When you get there, then that will become clearer. Any other questions? All right. So the wisdom light can destroy the three delusions. So this Buddha here specializes in destroying the three kinds of delusions. All right. Any questions? 469. In the southern direction Buddha, there's a Buddha called Measureless Vigor Buddha. Okay. This is named, his name after the practices. Okay. Measureless alludes to the practices. Okay. He specializes in bringing benefits and bliss to all sentient beings. 他专门利乐有情. Okay? That's what this Buddha does. He vigorously benefits and brings bliss to all living beings. Alright? Meaning that he practices for a long, long time the 6 paramitas and all the countless sort of practices. Okay? And at the causal grounds, when he was practicing the Bodhisattva path, he's always vigorous, fearless, and never retreated. Okay, so this Buddha here, in order for you to get to comprehend his state, you have to practice ever more vigorously, and you should be fearless and should never quit. Okay? And during the causal grounds, when he was practicing the Bodhisattva path, he single-mindedly seeks from above, from the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, to transform the living beings below. He would never mix defilement for defilements. He does not retreat. And that's how he ultimately, he practices this way for a long, long time. Ultimately, this kind of practice brought him to Buddhahood. So in other words, this is one pathway to Buddhahood. You vigorous, you fearless, and you never retreat. In everything you do, in your practice. It's that simple. You vigorously, you keep on becoming more vigorous. You're afraid of nothing. Okay. For example, I will tell you one thing. Yesterday I talked about the fact that there are demonic obstructions in your practice. Because in fact, if there is a proper Dharma, then definitely there will be demon obstructions. No two ways about it. If wherever there is the proper Dharma, then there will be demons. Demons.
Demon?
Yes. Okay. So if you're afraid of the demons, then you should not be practicing the proper Dharma. You should not be practicing Mahayana. Okay. Wherever there is Mahayana, there are demons, and lots of demons. Lots of big demons as well as baby demons. There are lots of male demons as well as female demons. Female demons come in the form of girlfriends, male demons come in the form of boyfriends. That's a joke.
That's not true. That's true. It's like a joke.
That's true too. Okay? So the demons comes in so many forms, and the nature of the proper Dharma is that it must be tested. There's no proper Dharma unless it's tested by demons.
Great.
Yeah, that's right. You can look forward to it. Okay? Because if you're truly practicing, let's say you're practicing vigorously, okay, then they will come and test your vigor. If they come and instill fear in you, okay, so this is what stops people dead in their tracks, because of the fear. The fear of demons. The demons are so scary that they retreat. These cultivators retreat. And therefore, in Buddhism, when you practice Mahayana, you must be prepared to face the demons, demonic obstructions. Okay? The demonic obstructions are such that when they pull strings and make people behave in ways that are incomprehensible. Incomprehensible. It sucks. It is so deplorable, the actions. But then you don't realize sometimes it's because there's some demon behind it. That's the way it is. We are not as in control as we think. Okay? So part of this Buddha's practice is that he's fearless. Even though he faced many demonic obstructions, he faced many problems, many obstructions, many humongous problems. Okay? But he never retreated, he never became afraid. That's what kept him on the track to become a Buddha. Okay? Do you need Vietnamese or no, you don't Vietnamese? Okay, fine. I haven't explained Vietnamese yet for the last hour, so.
That's a switch.
Yeah. Now the Vietnamese complain on the tape, listen to the tape. How come there's no Vietnamese here? How am I supposed to understand this? All right.
Get out your translation book.
Yeah, get out the Google translator. I don't care. Okay. I find it refreshing to see the three characteristics of this particular Buddha's Dharma. He's vigorous, fearless, and never retreats. That summarizes the mindset of the Bodhisattva. You know that? You become more vigorous every day. You face your fears every day. The more fears you face every day, the more you become fearless. And you never retreat. No matter how tough it is, you keep on going, and you never quit. And that's how you practice Mahayana. There's no other way. You have to keep in mind these Buddhas are mentioned because for a reason. Okay? Because it tells us these particular salient characteristics of how that we need to keep in mind in our practice of Mahayana. Okay? No matter how difficult it is, no matter how bad it feels inside, you don't quit. You keep going. Because, as I said yesterday, the storm will blow over. The storm cannot last forever. Okay? That's the way it is. And that's part of the practice. Like someone puts it to me in a very elegant way. I said it, I mentioned it before, I want to bring it up again. He says, the bigger the boat, the bigger the storm. Okay? That's the nature of the Bodhisattva practice. Okay, so you hear this wonderful Dhamma door, this Buddha here, 3 characteristics: vigor, fearless, and non-retreating. Make sure you apply them in your daily practice. Okay, examine yourself. Are you fearless? Are you prone to retreating? Or are you vigorous enough? Okay? Why? What's so funny about it? Okay.
It's not funny.
All right. Any questions? 470. Shariputra, in the Western world, measureless light Buddha, measureless appearance Buddha, measureless banner Buddha, great light Buddha, great brightness Buddha, jeweled appearance Buddha, pure light Buddha, all Buddhas such as these, numberless as Ganges sands. Each in his own country brings forth a vast and long tongue that covers 3,000 great thousand worlds, and proclaims his sincere and true words. All you living beings should believe in this sutra, in which all the Buddhas praise its conceivable merit and virtue, and of which they are protective and mindful. (471) 舍利弗，西方世界有无量寿佛、无量相佛、无量庄佛、大光佛、大明佛、宝相佛、净光佛、无数等恒，河沙数诸佛，俄于极国，出广长舌相，遍覆三界大千世界，说成实言。汝等众生，当信是称赞不可思议功德，以解诸佛所护念经. Này xá lợi Phất, ở thế giới phương Tây có Phật vô lượng thọ, Phật vô lượng tướng, Phật vô lượng tràng, Phật đại quang, Phật đại minh, Phật bảo tướng, Phật tịnh quang. Giống như vậy, hằng hà sa số chư Phật, mỗi vị đều ở cõi nước của mình hiện ra tướng lợi rộng dài trùng khắp cả tam thiên đại thiên thế giới. Nói lời thành thật như vậy, chúng sanh các ngươi tin vào công đức khen ngợi không thể nghĩ bàn và kinh được tất cả chư Phật hộ niệm này. Okay, so now we're in slide 473. In the western direction, there are 7 Buddhas that represents the measureless Buddhas who also praise his Pure Land Dharma door. 474. The first Buddha of the 7 Buddhas is the measureless light Buddha. Thì Phật đầu tiên, so this is Vô Lượng寿Phổ, the Phật vô lượng thọ, is just Amitabha Buddha. He also praises Shakyamuni Buddha for speaking of this particular sutra. Okay, of course, he doesn't want to miss the opportunity to praise the Buddhas who explain the sutras. And another meaning is that the Buddha's 10 directions are numberless. And all the Buddha's names are based on the numberless virtues, and therefore it's not unusual for many Buddhas to share the same name. In fact, there are a lot of Buddhas sharing the same names throughout the Dharma realm. There are countless Buddhas sharing the same names. Okay? Because they basically cultivated the similar kinds of virtues on the way to become a Buddha. Okay? 475. There's a question about self-promoting. The question says, even Confucians do not praise themselves. Why does Amitabha describe himself as inconceivable? And this is the academician or the intellectuals who ask this type of question. Okay. Shouldn't the Buddhas refrain from praising themselves? The answer is that not only Amitabha Buddha, but also all Buddhas praise this particular sutra and praise Amitabha Buddha. And even if Amitabha Buddha praises himself, what harm is there if it can positively influence living beings, make them aspire for rebirth? And you should have a little bit more faith. The Buddhas the words are true and actual. They're based on facts, and they don't self-promote, unlike we do. So actually, you are projecting your own self-promotion on the minds of the Buddhas. Give us a break, please. Yes?
Are you trying to say it doesn't go to their head?
The Buddhahood doesn't go to their head? Absolutely not. Only Confucianism go to their head.
Right.
Okay? And that's what I find to be interesting, that when we try to explain the profound Buddhist principles to lay people, the lay people who don't understand are the one who tend to project themselves on the state of the sages. I think that may have something to do with arrogance, the thought delusion, that part of thought delusion where you overestimate yourself and underestimate the sages. That's arrogance. Okay? You get that? Okay. Any other question? Okay, never mind. I can't do this. Another Buddha is called Measureless Appearance Buddha. The second Buddha is called Measureless Appearance Buddha. So his name is based on his many appearances, meaning that his hallmarks are numberless. Because when you talk about a regular Buddha that appears like Shakyamuni Buddha, meaning a transformation body Buddha, they typically have 32 hallmarks. Okay? The list of hallmarks, 32 hallmarks that you can is clearly described in details in the Medicine Master Buddha's Sutra that we explain. And we include that list. You can go there for your reference. So we're talking about the 32 hallmarks of a transformation or response body Buddha like Shakyamuni Buddha. However, when we talk about the reward body Buddha, okay, then his hallmarks are numberless, and this refers to that state where his hallmark as many as decimals, and therefore it's boundless. His hallmarks are boundless. The reward body Buddha is so refined, is so adorned that it's incredibly attractive. You look at the reward body Buddha, you can't help but admire and aspire to become a Buddha, just as adorned as that. Okay. And furthermore, each Buddha has 3 bodies, meaning each Buddha has the response body or transformation body, and the second body is called the reward body, the third body is called the Dharma body, and each body has measureless marks. Okay. Why are there measureless marks? Why are there measureless marks? Why are there measureless, inconceivable marks, hallmarks? Because there are measureless virtuous conducts. Each virtuous conduct culminates in the creation of a hallmark that reflects, that is the result, is the fruition of these virtuous conducts. Okay. So, for example, each of the Buddha's hallmark, the 32 hallmarks that in the response body of Shakyamuni Buddha, is a reflection, is a result of a specific type of virtuous conduct. Okay, so the more of these virtuous conducts you practice, then the more of these different types of hallmarks you're going to have. Is that so? Okay. 477. Measureless banner Buddha. He's adorned with numberless jewel banners. Meaning that his body measurements of his merit and virtues is both high and also very adorned, very tall, very adorned. His body, the body measures the height and width and thickness of his body. Okay, is of his merit and virtues are both tall and high, and as well as extremely handsome, and they're so adorned, just like a banner. Okay, so his name here is based on a Dharma. The naming is based on a Dharma. Banner contains the notion of the brick, the deviant, and revealed the proper, meaning that banner can destroy the deviant, okay, and show what is the orthodoxy. And the Buddha established measureless dharmas, act like banners, destroying the deviant, and institute the proper dharma. Okay. So this particular Buddha's wisdom is complete, and because of he uses the complete wisdom, he established the Dharma banner in order to destroy and subdue the deviants and the demons, manifest and reveal the proper Dharma. And the living beings have numberless potentials, and therefore this Buddha speaks of the numberless dharmas, and that's why it's called measureless Dharma. He talks, he reveals measureless dharmas to help cross over living beings to escape from the deviant, okay, and return to the proper. Any questions? The Buddha's work is never easy. You have to confront the deviant and teach the proper to help people who are confused. Okay. This Buddha here reminds us that if you truly aspire to cultivate the Bodhisattva path, then you should not be afraid to interface with the deviant and have the strength and the wisdom to deal with both the deviant and the demons in order to manifest and reveal the proper Dharma. Okay? 478. Great Light Buddha. Okay. His name is based on wisdom, or it could also say that it's based on mark. Okay. For example, in other words, the body and the wisdom, the two kinds of life, the life from the body and life from the wisdom, there's nothing they do not illuminate. For example, the purity, extreme light, okay, penetrate everything. It illuminates in stillness and contain the empty space, and that belongs to the wisdom light. Whereas the body light, okay, meaning that either it shines very far away, or it very far away, or it shines the body light on specific areas. It's just like the hair mark between the eyebrows, light that can shine the light on into the eastern direction in many Buddha lands. Or you could say, use the example of Shakyamuni Buddha. Before speaking the Dharma, he would emit light. Okay. So this particular great light Buddha's, he has this great wisdom, light that can illuminate the Dharma realm to cross over all living beings. In other words, okay, we cultivate to unfold our wisdom, unfold our wisdom, and our wisdom has a special light that we can use to help people cross over living beings, shine our light, our wisdom light on them so that we help them escape from their darkness. Okay. Or you could say that when you purify yourself, then your body emits light. That particular light is also able to help a lot of living beings. Okay. So cultivators use two kinds of light. The light from their own body. In fact, the purer you are, the more light your body emits. Alright? For example, the heavenly being dwellers of the second dhyana heavens in our realm, their body emits light because they are free from sexual desire. And therefore, the body radiates light. Okay? Or you could look at it as the sages having unfolded true wisdom, and therefore their wisdom light can really shine on others and help others escape the darkness. It can eradicate the darkness in people's minds. Okay? It's just like what is the wisdom light? It's like you explain something to people, and it's like a light bulb going off in their mind, and so all of a sudden their mind is illuminated, and they no longer are confused about these principles, about these things. That's called wisdom light. Okay. Any questions? All right. 479. Great brightness Buddha. His name is based on wisdom. He obtained the three clairvoyances, the Sanmi, the heavenly clairvoyance, the past lives clairvoyance, and the ending outflows clairvoyance, and the three wisdom light brightness. Okay. This particular Buddha here has the three kinds of spiritual penetration. He can see to the heavens unobstructedly. All the heavens he can see. Okay? Nothing to obstruct him. Okay? Or he can know of all the past lives. Okay? He look at us and say he can go back as far as he likes until all the past lives we have. He knows, for example, what we used to be in prior life, or the life before that. Okay, that's called past life clairvoyance. And finally, he's able to put an end to all his afflictions. He's no longer afflicted. No matter what happens, he's completely even keeled and has no affliction whatsoever. Meaning that he has no more outflows. Okay, afflictions are outflows. Afflictions are leakages. What are afflictions? Afflictions are the movements of your mind. Let's say you hear something you like and say, it's so interesting. That's an affliction. Funny, isn't it?
Yes.
Or you sit there and you have a whiff of some food and say, that must be McDonald's quarter pounder. Okay? That's an affliction. What are outflows? Outflows are basically, what are outflows? These are words you keep on hearing. What does it mean to you? What does it mean to you exactly? And you can tell that Roberta is so relaxed after 2 weeks away. Saying, yeah, I like it. Yeah, what are outflows? Outflows are you going outside. If your attention is pulled away from you, that's an outflow. That's an outflow. Low. Outflow is low. Okay, low. Meaning you are pulling away from yourself. You go outside. It's an outflow. Any sort of movement to the outside, thank you, is an outflow. For example, what's an example of an outflow? Give me an example of an outflow. I look. Looking is an outflow. Agree? Yes or no? You look outside. That's an outflow. Hearing the mariachi music
See it.
across the corner. Okay? That's an outflow.
See it.
Right? So, in your waking moments, think about this.
So it is awful.
It's all outflows. It's all outflows. Yes?
But is it possible to, like, for Bodhisattvas or Buddhas, they still see without having outflows, right?
Yes.
So it's,
Are you there yet?
no, but that suggests that it's not the seeing per se, but there's something that, like a mental processing that we usually do along with the seeing or something.
Yes, that's correct. Mhm. So is there a question?
So then it's not actually seeing, but it's different levels of thought that's going along with the seeing. Or,
I'm talking about you. I'm talking about all of you. When you're looking at something, is it an outflow for you or isn't it?
Yes.
It's an outflow.
yeah.
It is an outflow, right? Why?
You're looking at something.
It directs everything out. It directs away from yourself.
Yeah. You're being pulled out. An outflow because you're losing. You see the point? The constant outflow is that it's a loss. What are you losing?
Your samadhi.
Your samadhi, yes. What else are you losing?
Your internalization.
Your concentration, your life force is being split.
Right.
You're here, you have so much here. Here's your base, here's your life force, here's concentration. And you're diverting some of it to look at something, to hear, listen to something,
Smell something. See
smell something. So all these are outflows that diminish your concentration, right? Are we on the same page? As long as our concentration is diminished, that's an outflow. And then the answer to the question that Thomas has earlier is that as long you can listen and you can look without diminishing your concentration, then it's not an outflow.
Right.
Simple as it.
Right, I can't do it.
And if you can do it, the more power to you. Yes.
It's like 24/7, you're constantly awful.
That's why we get tired. That's why we need sugar. That's why we need snacks. This is why we need to drink. See? Because we need to replenish our energy. Because our outflows deplete our energy.
And the biggest outflow is false thinking.
And the same common denominator of all these outflows is your mind moves. When your mind moves, that's an outflow.
You're not still.
You're not still.
That's 24/7, yes.
That's right. That's right. This is why we all need to meditate. Because meditation is a form of replenishment that is wholesome. The most wholesome form of replenishment is meditation. It's cultivation. If you don't, then you have to eat. You have to sleep. You have to drink. Right? We need more fuel. Because we keep on spending fuel. We keep spending our energy.
Expending it.
Yeah, we keep on having our outflows. Okay? That's why when we meditate, what do? We close our eyes. We shut our 5 sense organs. So we minimize our outflows. Never mind. I know I have one young person here today. 2 young people. Maybe 3. Maybe 4. Maybe 5. I don't know. Okay. I'm being lenient. my point here is that young people, their world is a world of outflows. Okay, we used to that. We used to functioning like that. We accept it as part of life.
We're born there.
Yeah, as soon as we open our eyes, we have
From
outflows.
birth
So
till
we condition ourselves to accept it. Okay? And so we don't realize that. We don't realize that this is part of the process. When you're younger, okay, you replenish yourself a lot quicker, a lot more easily. When you get older, it's just like my master, the martial arts teacher, gave me an example. It's just like a huge reservoir. Our life force is like a huge reservoir. If you replenish it, okay, constantly, then if you allow the reservoir to draw to low levels, then it's very difficult to replenish it. The analogy is very important, folks. If you don't pay attention, you let your energy level get depleted, it's much harder to replenish it.
That's right.
When you allow your body to be broken, much harder to fix it. Okay? So you need to be smarter about it. And that's part of the aging process. I started talking about young people. It's the aging process. You age quicker. I see a lot of young people aging so quickly because they're burning the candles with both ends, from both ends, because they have too many outflows. Can you imagine? I see people being so proud, saying, when I'm at my desk, I have my TV monitor, my PC monitor, I have my iPad, I have my stereo equipment, I have a TV set where I watch the stock market and stuff like that. So I have 5 different sources of things that are dividing my attention. And they call themselves to be superior overachievers. Multitaskers. And they don't realize it's all outflows. They all are killing themselves, all draining themselves unnecessarily. Not so great about it. People are so proud of that. I said, I don't understand that at all. Please explain that to me. You're killing yourself. You're aging like crazy. I saw people, of the same age. And yet, some people, because they burn the candles on both ends, they age so much quickly. And they're so proud of it. I don't get it. What's so great about it, huh, Roberta?
I don't understand it. They don't stop 24/7. They're on the cell phone and doing the computer.
Yeah.
All at once.
Yeah.
Constantly 24/7 on the phone. So
Oh, not only that. Let me tell you, there's some people who are hooked on the internet. I'm not going to name names.
yeah, they are.
Okay? They're hooked on the internet. They are always looking for like what at my computer. I have 5 windows. You know that? I have 5 windows when I work on my sutra. I have 5 windows, so I can check the internet and work at the same time.
What about Facebook, email,
Twitter,
and
cell phone.
all those? I don't understand. It's all the same stuff, but just bigger. Each one's a little bit different. That's all.
Okay. I ask you for a favor. Do not give me ginseng. Okay? Don't give me ginseng, please.
Incense.
No, ginseng. Ginseng. Renshen. Renshen. Okay. Ginseng. Okay. It's very good for people, but it's not good for me.
You just like water, don't you?
Okay. No, that's okay. It's not a big deal. I'm only asking you a favor because like some tea, for example, the green tea, 103 green tea, it has a little bit of ginseng. Right. Some of the Chinese teas that are very refined, they're nicer teas, and they put a little bit of ginseng in it. Mm-hmm. When we cultivate, we avoid ginseng. Because ginseng stimulates your energy, which is not necessary. It's better you stimulate yourself. You don't use external stimulation. Okay? So that's why I'm telling you, not only for myself, but for you as well. When you cultivate, you meditate and you practice, you don't use ginseng. You don't. Even you're very tired and the doctor says, have some ginseng, say no thanks. It's not necessary. Because if you use ginseng, then this kind of external stimulant will hamper your own generation of your energy. You see? I want to get tired so that I replenish quicker myself, by myself. So my system is more sharper. If I use ginseng, then my system only is partially used.
You're contaminating
See what I mean?
You're contaminating it.
Well, it's not quite contamination. Don't push it so hard. It's good. You know. It's a good thing, actually. I have ways to prepare ginseng that are superb, but I refuse to use it because I feel it's not necessary. It's not. It's not that useful in a long haul. It's better you learn to do it yourself. Much better. Okay. We have plenty of ginseng in our old system. We don't need external ginseng. In other words, okay, we don't. If you practice, still need the ginseng. I started telling you about the young people aging so fast. People aging so fast because they have too many outflows. They don't know how to stop outflows. And that's a horrible thing. People age because of that. Okay? In other words, if you cultivate, let's say you meditate regularly every day. Okay? Let's say an hour a day. Good? Okay? Then what you're doing is every day you put an hour where you actually shut down your system, learn to shut down your system, minimize your outflows. Guess what it does to you? To your system? It slows down your aging process tremendously. You need a break. Cultivation slows down or reverses the aging process, believe it or not. Okay, it's that simple. If you allow yourself to accept the fact that your life is about getting outflows and you have to live with that. And I submit to you, you don't have to live with that. You can learn to undo that. You can learn to limit the damage you're doing to yourself. Your work is doing to yourself. Society is doing to you. The conditioning society imposed upon you since you went to school, since you acquired education, okay, is causing you to die quicker, to age quicker. That's all it does. It's not that great to me. Okay? Because let's face it, I don't see why people would spend their lifetime accruing a fortune and then what? Leave it to their two sons? It doesn't make sense to me. What for? And then you spend you get old and you look and you rationalize why it makes sense to have done that. Why it's meaningful. Okay? And to me, you're a victim of your own of the society conditioning. We don't need to accept outflows as a fact of life. We should not. And you can say all you want. It goes back to you must learn, you must commit to practice every single day to limit the damages. Okay? Any problems? Any questions? Yes.
On the great brightness of Buddha, he has the three clairvoyances and all these things, but don't all Buddhas have those attributes? They
all do. Very good. It's a good question. They all have the same attribute. They all have the same spiritual penetration.
All the same skills.
All the same skills. Okay. However, this particular Buddha here is named that way because the name indicates the pathways he took to become a Buddha. Okay, specialized in these 3 clairvoyances as is part of his practice. Okay. Or the other Buddha, the prior Buddha, for example, specialized in breaking the deviant and revealing the proper.
That was his dharma.
Yes, and he chooses the hard way. He says, I'm going to go fight the demons, and I will I will tell them about what's proper, what's improper, okay? And I'm going to make a lot of enemies. I'm going to make a lot of people unhappy with me and come attack me and slander me and take me to court and abuse me, okay? So, and spread rumors about me. But that's part of his work. This guy, this Buddha here, the next Buddha here, he says that I specialize in unfolding my wisdom and use my wisdom to help people. My wisdom light to help people. Okay? Yeah. Because by using my wisdom, I help people solve more problems. I help point out to people where they're wrong, where they can stop their leakages. Okay? I show people where they have outflows.
So he's a good knowing advisor on Dharma.
Yes. Okay? So each of these Buddhas, they chose a certain pathway in their practice on the way to Buddhahood. That's what it means. So what it means to us, ordinary people, is that we look at these Buddhas and see which ones we have affinities with. For example, we hear all these Buddhas. That means that we're exposed to their dharmas. So in the future, we have the seeds to practice the dharmas they practice themselves. Why is it important? Because when you hear these Buddha names and you understand how they got there, and you practice their Dharma doors down the road, you know what's going to happen? You most likely will be born amongst his retinues, their retinues. I wouldn't be surprised if I listened to, I keep on telling you about Shakyamuni Buddha, the life stories, and the various Dharma doors he practiced. It's because I have affinities with him. So that's why I was born here to the Sara world, and I continue to practice under his Dharma doors. And it means that I receive this whole host of these Dharma protectors who've been protecting Shakyamuni Buddha on his Bodhisattva path. You know that? Along the pathways, there's so many Dharma protectors. Okay? So if you choose the same pathway, you have the same protection. And the same tests. The same demons as well. Okay?
No, you can same demons for the free, same package.
The same package.
For free.
The thing, the whole thing. Okay? Alright. Jeweled appearance Buddha. Name is based on marks. Jewel conveys the concept of veneration and honor. Okay. The Buddha's marks are numerous and very adorned, refined and superior, inspiring living beings to venerate and honor him. Okay. Every single hallmark is superior and special, wonderful and great, and therefore they are complete with that's why they're venerated and honored. Okay. Furthermore, his whole body is like refined gold. Okay. And each hallmark is like a jewel, like a gem. And therefore, it has the jewel mark appearance. Okay. And all the marks are refined like jewel marks, are jewel appearances. And it turns out that both the inner and outer marks are both jeweled and very refined. Okay? Any questions? All right, 481. Pure light Buddha. This Buddha here has incredibly bright lights. The name is based on wisdom. Pure, meaning that there is no leakage, there's no outflow. Light refers to the light of the body and the light of the wisdom. And that's why it's called pure light. Okay? Meaning the light of the body and the wisdom has no outflows. This is a form of light that the sages radiate. The sages radiate light from the body and from the wisdom that have no outflows. The light there is a special kind of light that is not like the way we see it. You must have spiritual eye before you see it. It's not regular sunlight or regular light you see there, but it's a special kind of light that only with spiritual eyes can you see it. Okay, and this is because you emit this kind of light because you put an end to, or you begin to put an end to your afflictions, certain types of afflictions. Okay? When you put an end to your afflictions, then you begin to emit light. Okay? For example, I like to see. For example, I see Ru Jing here emit light because she put an end to most of her sexual desire. Don't translate that. Don't translate. 不要你知道。
那如果讲的时候，我还是要知道吗？知道为什么？
为什么？
就是个光的问题。那时候我要知道为什么。
Because sexual desire is a form of confusion. When your mind is free from these thoughts of confusion, then your body emits light. Your mind emits light. Okay? It should come to no surprise to you, because the more of the people who reduce their afflictions, particularly sexual desire, the more the body emits light. There's no two ways about it. Okay? So for example, I know at this stage in her life, she's no longer that interested in sex anymore. I don't know, for some reason. Okay? And truly, the body is so bright. And I see young people, also some young people who are like that as well. Who for example, Thomas, when he's free from sexual thoughts of sexual desire, he also emits light, but that doesn't happen very often. Okay? Okay, so your afflictions, your defilements, when you have few of those, okay? And when your wisdom light becomes perfected, and you are apart from defilements and you are purifying, then there's nothing that you cannot illuminate. This is the state of this Buddha. Okay? So let me explain that to you, his cultivation process, how he got there. Yeah, his pathways. Okay? He cuts off his afflictions. He cuts off his defilements. Okay? He doesn't look at people's defilements or people's afflictions. He looks at his own afflictions. He looks at his own defilements. He doesn't blame someone else for being mean. He doesn't blame someone else for being evil. He only looks at his own affliction. He says, if this person is evil to me, does it afflict me? Is it clear? Is it clear to you, Thomas? You don't blame others. People may be evil, may be mean, may be ugly, but it's not your problem. You don't blame them. You look at yourself. Does it afflict me? Does it make me upset? Does it make me disappointed? If it does, then you still are afflicted. Is it clear? Don't blame others. Just look at yourself. How you react to them. How do you react to their ugliness? That's what matters. Right? Number 2, he takes care of his own defilements. Meaning that the things he's not supposed to do, he doesn't do. For example, the Confucians have a saying that the Master Shuang likes to quote. I think it makes so much sense. He says, what is, how do you purify yourself? The Confucius says, do not look what should not be looked at. Do not hear what should not be heard. Okay? Do not say what should not be said. Do not think what should not be thought of. That's purifying yourself. You remember that Confucian thing? What? 怎么说呢？
是非礼勿听，非礼勿视，非礼勿做。
非礼勿听，非礼勿视，非礼无言，非礼勿做，不想。
不符合礼仪的都不要做，都不要理。
Okay? I modify a little bit in English. I said, if it's not proper, do not think. Actually, if it's not proper, do not do. Do is only a result of the thought process. Okay? That's how you purify yourself. So, you start out by looking at your own afflictions. Okay? And then you purify yourself. Okay? When you do that, you acquire wisdom. Your wisdom begins to shine. And you keep on, the more you do that, the more your wisdom becomes perfected. Okay? And in particular, you distance yourself from defilements. Do not go near defilements. Okay? Now, it's not always possible to do that, but actually this is ideal conditions where it more describes the pathways where people actually retreat from society and they isolate themselves so that they are apart from defilements. Let's say they go into seclusion, they go to the wilderness, they go and cultivate in the high mountains or the deep or the deep valleys. Okay. That's all you do. Then that's how you acquire wisdom. Any questions? And once you acquire this kind of wisdom, it has a purpose. This wisdom then, because of your track, of your pathways, your wisdom light then can purify all affliction and defilements. Any questions? If you don't have any questions, time is up. My 2 hours are up. And we can stop. Yes? Yes?
What was the question? It was about, I remember hearing somewhere that like your body is a product of false thinking. It's created by false thinking.
So what's the question?
Is that correct?
Yes. What about it?
I'm just wondering, like, or is basically this whole, I mean, wouldn't then the whole world as well be created by false thinking?
Yes. The mountains, the rivers, the valleys are created of false thinking. Yes. What about it?
So if we put an end to all, if everybody put an end to false thinking, there would be no mountains and no rivers, no world,
Yes.
no body, no person.
Yes.
But then
So is there a question?
that sounds like that sounds like this one-sided emptiness. Because we're trying to put an end to the sixth consciousness. So if everybody put an end to the sixth consciousness, then everything would just be. It sounds like this blank, dull emptiness kind of.
Until he wonders existence.
Yeah, where's the wonderful existence part of this?
I don't know. Why do you ask me? I still see mountains. I still see rivers. Why are you worried about something that's only a theory?
I don't know, I'm just curious.
Let me ask you this then. If that's the case, if everything is made from false thinking, and if you stop false thinking, everything disappears. You know what that means?
We're all Buddhas.
They're all Buddhas. Are you Buddhas? Then why are you worried about it? We ain't Buddhas yet. It's going to be a long time before we become Buddhas. So it will be a long time until the end of time. Will still be mountain and rivers because not everyone will become Buddhas. No.
So what about poor Earthquake?
Not at the same time.
Oh.
Because one person is Buddha, one person becomes a Buddha, 10 quadrillion zillion people becomes living beings. It's endless. The timing is not there. Your assumption, your premise is everyone stops thinking. That everyone stops thinking is too much of an assumption. It's impossible.
But I guess the other aspect I'm wondering about when we say like everything is made from the mind alone, is that mind there, is that talking about the false thinking mind, or is
Yes.
it talking about the...
It's a false thinking mind.
It's not talking about the true mind.
The true mind too.
So is the true mind the false thinking mind?
The true mind that gives forth to the false mind to give forth to all the false things. But the false thing comes from the true thing. The source of the false thing is the true thing. You cannot say that. So therefore, it's both. You have a true mind, you can give forth all the falseness as well. And when you have the false mind, you can give forth to all the falseness. Okay. The true mind can bypass the false mind and give forth all the falseness as well. Okay? True doesn't exclude false. Yes. Anything else? Are we happy? Okay, so this is the last lecture for the year, and we say goodbye to last year, and we see you next year. Tomorrow, yes. There are more visitors. Okay, let's wrap it up and go to our thing. This Sunday, right? Oh yeah, this is the last day of the year. Really? Yeah, I forgot. Okay.